Welcome back, Televised Carnage fans. Rods and Mods built a Gaslands car for $4 on the channel a while ago, and you guys really enjoyed that video. Well, today I'm going to show you how I built a Gaslands car for free, just using stuff that I found around the house. Some normal craft paints and some stuff that I would expect to find in any household that does any kind of crafting. I highly suggest that you get yourself a box just to throw all of your cars in. You never know when that creativity is going to strike and you're going to want to build something. So digging through here, I finally find the car that I want to use for this video. After that, I went ahead and pulled out my brand new set of drill bits. These things are awesome. I was using the incorrect drill bit before, which was making my life really challenging. I thought these rivets were really hard to drill out. Come to find out, I was just using the wrong drill bit. So if you're finding trouble drilling those out, I suggest just buying some that are actually meant for metal. I have a whole lot of parts that I've picked up through different reviews that I've done on the channel or just collecting throughout all the customizations that I've done. And I have a pretty expansive collection here, but nothing was really catching my eye whenever I decided I wanted to do a build video for the channel. So I was thinking, how can I be inspiring and make something that anyone can do? I pushed all my parts to the side and decided I'm going to do something that anyone could make just by finding stuff from around the house. We got a Q-tip, a gift card, and the packaging this car came in. Let's see what we can do with just these items. So I decided I wanted to do a buzzard build like on Mad Max Fury Road, and I thought the gift card would be the perfect thing to make all of the spikes out of. I actually ended up cutting what I thought would be enough and had to cut about 2 times more off screen than what you see here. The next thing I was going to tackle is rivets, which I normally make out of styrene tubing, or I have a little tiny hole punch that I'll punch pieces of styrene out of. But I thought these Q-tips would be the perfect thing to make little rivets to hold on some armor plating that I knew I was going to create a little bit longer down the line in this video. The last part of this build that I wanted to do was some armor plating to protect the driver of this buzzard vehicle. And I thought that the packaging that the car came in would be perfect for this. I didn't want to use the same plastic that I used for the spikes because I thought it'd be a little bit too thick and stick out a little bit too far. And the packaging on the outside there actually was perfect for this. It's the right thickness and it looks like it would protect the driver really well. If you're having trouble with things falling off of your vehicle, it might be because the surface of it isn't rough enough to hold your super glue. So I suggest utilizing an emery board or some sandpaper to scuff up the outside of your car. After adding the armor plating, I added the rivets that we cut out of the Q-tips, and these things worked out perfectly to make it look like the bolts that would actually hold on this armor plating to the car. I don't remember where I saw this technique, but utilizing baking soda with super glue makes a really strong bonding surface. So I knew I wanted these things to be bonded on really strongly because if not, they were going to pop off like crazy because of them just sticking out of the car like this. It actually worked out really well. It does leave a little bit of a nasty kind of spot where the super glue and the baking soda sits, but that worked out actually to my favor in this build because it almost looks like the weld mark that somebody would leave behind after welding on these spikes. So if you're trying to build a car and especially going for that grungy look and having some spots that are a little bit difficult, not wanting to hold on, I highly suggest utilizing baking soda to maybe fill gaps and really hold those pieces together. With the build complete, it's time to primer this thing up and see how the build actually comes together and looks all put together. This is some normal black primer I found at a local hardware store. It's not model paint or anything, and as long as you do light dustings of this, you'll have good effects. I'm also using basic craft paint here, nothing special, not model paint. You can do this with anything, believe me. The first step is to base coat this thing in brown. I knew that I wanted a rusty bottom coat to this thing, so I covered the entire thing in the same brown paint that gives it a really nice rusty finish. Next, I added a little bit of black paint to make some of the added on bits look like steel that was added on later and give it a little bit different definition to those added on pieces. Now we're moving on to my favorite part. So I love adding details to things, and one of my favorite details to add onto these vehicles is rust. And my favorite way to do it is to take a little bit of a sponge, break apart the edge there to get an irregular shape, and sponge on some rusty spots with a little bit of orange and brown paint. If you're doing a regular vehicle, you can start with that base coat color over your paint job to start making your rust spots, but because this was already all the way rusted, I went ahead and started with orange. So I went back afterwards and added a little bit more orange paint to just some spots where I thought there might be a little bit more advanced rust. Sticking with our theme of things we can find around the house, I used a silver Sharpie here to color the engine and the pipeworks and the inside of our wheel wells. After that, I mix up a wash to apply to some of these areas to give it a little bit dirty, grungy look. This is just that craft paint with some water mixed in. It's not perfect, but it will work and make your vehicle look that much better. And after that final detail, the car is complete. We built a car here for free. Obviously, you'd have to buy the car itself, but maybe you have one lying around. And these craft materials are gonna last you for forever. You don't need fancy stuff. You can do this and you can make amazing looking vehicles to throw on your table and wow your friends. So get out there, start crafting, and make yourself a really sweet car.